Hi there, let me show you what I'm up against, and I'm hoping you can help. I'm going to log in as the administrator, or the owner of the Lean-To software project, if you will. This was the very first user that was created when the project software was set up. And in it, I've also created 2 other users. And both of those users are LDAP users, as I guess indicated here. One of the things that surprised me is there's no link to these LDAP users. There's no way to edit their information. In fact, the only way I can see their information is if I log out and log in as that user. And when I do, I can then go to my profile. But under my profile, there's no first name, there's no last name. The email address is some kind of concatenation of the username and the domain. So none of the information that I see on a normal user, we'll log back in as a non-LDAP user. See, the fields aren't even there on the other one. So that's an inconsistency I'd like to see resolved. And I think that's spilling into another area here that's critical to the usage of the project and LDAP. I've created a new project called Test. Now let's say I want to add Douglas to this test project. I go to Project Settings and Team, and there is no Douglas there. There's an administrator. Well, it looks like I may have created that under the LDAP user. There's an administrator, and in fact there's a couple of administrators, but they don't identify in any way who this is. Now I'm going to assume for the moment that this is Douglas, and it just doesn't say that, but that's what needs to be cured. So now we have these 2 administrators that are available to access this project. In fact, I'll go ahead and add all 3 of us to this project. In to-dos, I have added 1 to-do. So now I'm going to log in as the user who is now assigned to that test project. Click on Test, click on to-dos. Okay, it does show it there. Test is really the only project that Douglas has assigned to it, and that appears to be working okay. Now when I come over here, this is another thing that's confusing, and it's on the list, and I click All Projects. Now Douglas is an administrator. It's not unreasonable for him to see all projects. Let's go back to projects. We'll go to a different one. Okay, so I'm going to add a to-do, give it a name, and what happens is it just disappears. It disappears presumably because he's not a member of the Server Matter Current project. But that's obviously behavior that you don't want to have, where an administrator by appearances thinks they're a member of the project because the to-dos are laid out there, and they start creating things and they just disappear. So I think the proper behavior for this should be probably the only thing that shows up is project settings. There is none of this other because they're not even a member of the project. If they're an administrator, okay, they can go into projects and they can change something as far as the team goes, but that would then these other items would show up. So the absolute biggest #1 issue is LDAPs. I can't tell who's who, so I can't assign projects to LDAP users. And behind that, I think you should remove these until they are actually a member of that project. And hand in hand with all that is profile. We have no first name, last name. This is not an email address. So we need to get that resolved. So that's it. Thanks so much. This is real important for us. We put a fair amount of time in the process to get us to where we are. Unfortunately, the caching issue with LDAP credentials really made it impossible for us to troubleshoot whether credentials were working or not working. So I kind of recommend that you don't cache LDAP credentials, because every LDAP company that doesn't just happen to get it right the first time is going to have those credentials cached, and they're not going to be able to troubleshoot it properly moving forward. That's it. Thanks for watching. I hope that wasn't too many things in one video. Bye-bye.